All right. Hello and welcome to Vicinity of Infinity podcast, episode number. I don't know. Do you know?
No.
Okay, so let's just cut right to the sandwich here. The burning question on everybody's mind. So, do you think Vinegar Eel 2256 was responsible for the shelling of the WCYF in 1891, or did Vinegar Eel 8219 use its signature mind-controlling Szechuan sauce to disarm the ionic cell oxidators implanted in the subdermal nanobodic quantum the subdermal quantum molecular multiplasma ray diffraculator, thereby triggering the surge of toxically acidic radiation from Vinegar Eel 9576's self-calibrating electronic nuclear resonance device, obliterating both Professor Clemens and Chemistry Steve. Which one?
I'll just go with the second one because I didn't say mention to anything they just said.
Hey, why don't you turn your camera on so we can see you?
Because
my camera's on. That's unfair. It, puts us on at different levels. We gotta be on the same level. You gotta be equal.
I'm good, thank you.
Well, you're the only guest to have done this so far. I mean, it's typically a visual podcast. I mean, no other guest has refused to turn their camera on.
The podcast that I watch is just like going out nowhere, and it's just a black screen with a picture on it.
Some are like that. It's a 50-50, but if the podcast has something to look at, it's more immersive too, typically. But I mean, I record a good number of these in person with people that I know a little bit, like my classmates and stuff. So it's half and half, and then I do some over Skype. But I don't know. It just gives like a foreign feel. It feels more like a phone call to me if it's this way. But anyway, what's going on? Why is there? Can you still hear me? Yeah, let me connect to Wi-Fi here. Alright, are we good? Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello?
Alright, I think we got it now? We good?
Yeah, my phone shut down in the middle of it.
Yeah, well, the internet here, whatever. Anyway, so why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself?
I'm not academically great, so anything you tell me that sounds really smart, I probably won't understand it. I'm more of a musical person.
I mean, I'm a pseudo-intellectual, but yeah, go on.
I mean, I have my opinions, but it doesn't mean I'm right.
Yeah, I don't think your intelligence is coming under question here. I just ask you to tell the viewers about yourself,
Well, that's me. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm a very dumb person, but that's part of my personality. I'm goofy, and I just try to get along with everyone.
Alright, so you mentioned music. Do you play instruments then, or?
Yeah, I play violin, piano, guitar, ukulele, and kalimba.
Well, those are all very sophisticated instruments.
Yeah, because I started with the violin.
What's your primary instrument? Is it the violin?
Yeah.
Have you made any original pieces yet, or do you just do covers?
I'm going to
know then. You haven't made anything original then.
No.
So you're in college then?
No.
Oh, so high school?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Surprisingly, you're not the first high school guest to be on here. Anyway, so what kind of music are you into then?
Anything that's not like mumbling rap. And I will listen to country sometimes because my dad listens to it. So.
Well, that's understandable. But like, what's your music genre of choice?
Oh, you can't make me choose. I'm a musical student.
Like, you can only listen to one kind of music the rest of your life. What is it?
I literally can't choose. That's like hurting me right there. Right in my shoulder. Okay. It would be psychedelic music.
Not a bad choice indeed. Okay. We'll come back to that later, believe me. Anyway, another important question. Do you think that it was the head pets or the Gnorfs that were responsible for the Great Potato Plague on Stuvian 4?
Wait, the what and the what?
The Potato Plague on Stuvian 4, do you think it was, caused by the primary aggressors? Do you think they were the head pets or the Gnorfs? That's a very serious question. I don't know why you're laughing about it. Go on.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
It was like the equivalent of it was like the Stuvian 4 equivalent of like World War II. Like it's a very serious event. But do you personally think it was the head pets or the Gnorfs that started it?
I'll go with Gnorfs.
The Gnorfs? Why? Why? Because they have a history of violence, you racist? No, it's fine. Whatever. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. Just to be happy saying that on record now. Anyway, so what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? It's a question I ask all my guests. Which one?
Chocolate chip.
Oh, why is that? That's a fairly common answer. Why is that?
I just like after a meal, like I'm out with some friends.
Yeah. Alright. So tell us more. Tell the viewers and myself a little bit more about yourself, about your life, and, your, like, philosophy and, your just lifestyle, and, your kind of own little unique funky flow you got going on.
I started off with a small house in a small town, and something happened, and then I had to move, and I moved a bunch throughout like my entire childhood, so that was luckily, and then we ended up settling on one place, and it was odd for me. I'm trying to think. Everything just like exploded out of my mind.
Wait, so where did you say you lived again?
In a small town.
Yeah, in what state?
Oh, Illinois.
Illinois. Wow, I would not have guessed that. So is that where you were born then, or was that a different state?
I only moved out of state once, but the rest were like in different towns.
So how do you like in Illinois? How's that?
I wouldn't leave it for sure, to be honest.
So you like it?
Yeah, I really do.
What's appealing to you about Illinois?
The culture, but also the cons of it is, gun violence down in the city and stuff like that. But
I was not aware of either of those things being prevalent in Illinois, but please do go on.
Yeah, there's violence was a woman who...
Well, Chicago maybe, but that's not, like, down, that's up.
I'm near Chicago now. It's like a 30 or 45-minute drive.
Oh. Oh, when you said small town, I thought you meant, like, hours away from, you know, the nearest city or something.
The town I live in now? No, it's, like, equivalent to suburbs and stuff.
Well, you live closer to a city than I do, then. Anyway. Yeah, as you can tell by the fact that I'm sitting in my screen room, I clearly don't live in a crowded city. You know, it's very spacious. But, yeah, I'm in the suburbs. But, oh, that's a question. Would you prefer to live in the city, the suburbs, or the country?
Both.
There were three choices.
I'm excluding the country.
Really?
So
Why is that?
suburbs and city. Well, I would like to start off my career in the city, and maybe as I get older, move into the suburbs, kind of chillax.
That's exactly how I feel too. I'd wanna, you know, I'd wanna be a single young party person in the city, and then just kind of settle down and live a life, have a family out in a rural, secluded area. You know, that's the way to do it, in my opinion. A lot of people do the reverse. A lot of people are born and raised in a desolate area, and then they move to the city as adults, and they stay there. And that's kind of unfortunate, yeah.
Yeah, I grew up, because I'm a Hispanic person, and I grew up in the suburbs, so I guess in some way I'm very Americanized, if that makes me sad. Because sometimes I get excluded party, but from my culture.
So yeah, because there's not many like Spanish-speaking people, or you know, stuff like that. Well, I mean, I live in Florida, so there's plenty of that here. Not, you know, particularly this 10-mile radius or whatever, but like, you know, I'm not terribly far from like Miami and Broward and all that kind of stuff. That's a story for another time, though. I don't, you know, I can go on for a while about what I don't like about Miami, but trust me, it has nothing to do with the culture or anything. But
GTA Vice City.
Huh? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't played that one, but I'll take your word for it.
I was I think it was around 10 when I did it. I had a PlayStation 2, and I was playing over and over and over again.
So, like, what do you have any like cool nicknames that you go by?
No, I just go by Bella.
Yeah, alright, well, we gotta create you a cool nickname then. So, let's start brainstorming ideas, like, for the sake of the podcast.
Yeah. People online used to call me Alfalfa.
What?
Alfalfa.
Alfalfa?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
Every time I put my hair in a bun, there was a little hair that sticks right up.
Let's create a new made from scratch nickname. How about that?
Okay.
Alright. So what's the first step in doing that?
Just give me one.
I can't.
Click the dice button.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I don't have an app for that. What's something you like?
Music.
Come on, that's like saying you like food or something. I mean, come on, you gotta be specific.
What's up, one?
Alright, so you could be... Bed Zeppelin. that's weak.
I'm sleeping on it.
Oh, you know what? That line actually made me like it more. I don't know. I'm not. As you can probably tell if you ever watch any of my YouTube videos, I'm not very good at coming up with ideas on the spot. I typically, I'll like think of something and then I'll start doing it and then I'll realize, wait a minute, what's actually involved in this? I'll get like all excited. I'll come up with an idea for something and I'll get all excited about it, get myself all, hyped up for it and everything. Yeah, it'll be perfect. It's exactly what I gotta do. And then like I say, all right, so how do I get started? And then I'll just realize that it's just a very long, arduous process, and I'll just get impatient eventually and just get frustrated and quit the whole thing. So.
I have that with like OCD. So like, if my handwriting isn't good enough, I'll keep crumpling up papers, which is bad for the environment, I know. And then I start to give up if I can't get it right.
So, what do you have like the kind of OCD where it's like you have to move objects to like the center of the table, and like if something's crooked, you gotta like, the chair's gotta be on the same two tiles or something like that, or.
For me, it's not that serious. It's just, I think it's because I'm a perfectionist, and I guess that's where the violin comes in.
So what, you think it's more like self-induced?
Yeah, like practice, it's non-stop.
So what, you play the violin several hours a day then, I take it?
Yeah, like after class, I'll take it home and practice any concert.
Well, you gotta be decent at it at least then, right? I would assume.
I'm better than most.
Wait, so do you have access to a violin now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you play a tasty lick for the viewers?
I can't. It's downstairs.
Okay. We can wait a minute or two.
No. Everybody in this house is quiet, and I don't want to cause a commotion.
Alright, I get you. Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a lot more. Never mind. Okay. Well,
Let's talk about your hair.
It's weird you should mention that because the guy I live with part time, it used to be full time, but Patty King, I don't expect you to know who he is, but he has his own YouTube channel. He's a local musician, and he's been since well before I met him. And it just so happens fate brought him into my house, and we kind of hit it off recently. And so he's made cameos on my YouTube channel. I've made cameos on his and stuff like that. He helps me out behind the scenes sometimes, and we're more recreational friends than business friends, though. But he is quite the violinist. He calls it the fiddle because he has more of like a bluegrass upbringing. But they call him the Fiddle King, the Patty King of String. He'll play just about anything with strings. He could just like pick up a violin and just like he can play by ear. I'm not sure, if he could do that or whatever, but like we could just put on like a movie soundtrack or something, and within 30 seconds he could just say, okay, that sounds like what would that be, an E major, all right, so I'm gonna do whatever, and he'd get it on the first listen, and like there's very little practice required, but you could still hear him practicing in his room most of the time. And it's like, I got a set list coming up, and most of the time, the gigs that he plays, they make up the set list as they go along, so he doesn't really have time to prepare, So, like, are you that kind of violinist then, or are you just more like a side thing?
It's more of like a side thing, to be honest.
So,
I have so much love for it in the class.
So
classical literature.
what's your dream job?
My dream job. Well, for a job, it would be a vocal coach.
Oh, interesting. Why is that?
I just want to help other people learn how to sing.
Like, you want to help other people become like you, basically?
Not like me. Anything that I get taught in school, like get told by a vocal coach, it's everything all in grass to become a vocal coach.
So what's your favorite sport then?
I don't have a sport.
So you're not a fan of any sport at all?
No, not really. I mean, I've played a few in the past, but
none of them just really tickle your fancy or anything?
yeah.
Wow, that describes me exactly, because so far, every guest that I've had on here so far, which has been over a dozen, who, as soon as I bring up sports, they're just like, oh yes, and they start going on very emotionally packed rants, about like their favorite team and why the rival team sucks and why their team's so much better, and they just went to a game the other day and it was awesome, and so and so did their signature whatever, and and I have no idea what they're talking about, but I'm like, oh yeah, I agree with you 100%, yeah, that's definitely it. And the next person comes on, this team, which is the same one the last one was praising, sucks, and their rival, the last one is matching, is the greatest and whatever. It's like, oh yeah, I agree with you 100%, whatever. But so essentially, yeah, I think it has to do a lot with how you're raised, because I feel if your parents or older siblings or whatever are more into sports, like if you grow up in a household watching a lot of sports, chances are you're going to care a little bit more as an adult, But yeah, my family doesn't really care about any of that, so I'm very uneducated.
Yeah, well, my cousins and my uncles and aunts, they're into soccer a lot. But in my family, my dad hates it. He's like, I don't want to watch soccer, turn that off.
So I guess you could say you've got a soccer mom. Haha. But in any case, I mean, then again, when you think of traditional sports, it's like, football, baseball, basketball, tennis, soccer, golf. That's big in Florida. That's, maybe hockey. But keep in mind, those aren't all the sports that exist. I mean, cycling, swimming, billiards, poker. I mean, some people probably consider chess a sport. I don't know.
I
Frisbee, maybe?
On the sport, on the freaking chess team.
Yeah, I've never been very good at chess. I prefer, fast-paced, quick, explosion-packed, killing spree, bloodbath, whatever, random sound effects, music cues, flashing colors, and button mashing, high-octane, adrenaline-pumping video games,
Yeah. I was taught at first grade.
Huh?
I was
Where were you taught at first grade?
Yeah. Chess.
Oh, I thought that was building up to something more elaborate.
No, I was taught at first grade, and it was a chess club, and I continued to play at home, and then in high school, freshman year.
So what's your favorite number? Why is that? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
My favorite number?
Yeah.
13.
Why?
How old you are?
Freddy, 13. Jason. Yeah.
Okay, but do you like the number 1 or the number 3 better?
3. It reminds me of the cat with 3 eyes.
The what?
The cat with 3 eyes.
Wait, where does this exist?
It's a photo of a cat that has 2 eyes and, like, the eye above it.
Oh, so like a third eye, like in a spiritual sense?
Yeah.
So it's like symbolic then, it's not actually like a physical third eye that like looks the same as the other two. It's more like an
And
invisible...
it's a black cat.
Oh. Wait, aren't black cats bad luck? According to the mythologies or whatever? Like, isn't a third eye a good thing?
If you spot one, it's bad luck. But if you live with one, I don't think it matters.
I don't know, that's all confusing to me.
If you hear crows cawing around you, it's also bad luck.
So, what's your favorite, so what's the funniest thing that you've seen, heard, or otherwise encountered in the past 24 hours?
In the past 24 hours?
Yeah.
Nothing so far, because I haven't done any.
Oh, nonsense. Surely, maybe you watched something that made you chuckle, or you had a phone call with someone that made you chuckle, or you read something that made you chuckle, or you thought of something or made something that made you chuckle, or whatever. I mean, surely, I mean, come on. Nobody goes a full day without even cracking a smile. So, what takes the cake today?
I told you about this. I told you that on Friday I was going to go arcading.
Okay.
So after arcading, I have my debit card on me. I'm going to pay for food. But I invited my sister to get some buffalo wings. And this is like a small restaurant. And it's in the stadium. It's like a sports bar restaurant thing. And we go inside, we sit, and we wait for 15 minutes. We're all annoyed. And so they placed us somewhere else. And it was dirty. And I was like, wait, this isn't right. And so I accidentally left my debit card there. And then a blonde waitress went over to the table and cleaned it up. And we were seated somewhere else. And she took it, she stole it. And then she was lying about it when I asked her about it.
Doesn't sound very funny.
And then we asked for surveillance camera footage. And they're like, oh, well, it takes 1 hour. And we don't want you to wait that long. I'm like, okay. So I left and I canceled my debit card.
Sorry, I think I missed the punchline there. What was the knee slapping zinger there?
Oh, that a waitress stole my debit card.
Oh. That's a good one.
It was the worst experience of my life, for sure.
Alright, so if you could be any type of car, what would it be?
I have to choose two, like between two.
As long as they're very different.